Hi, everyone. It's Miss Huckvari from the library here to talk to you today about some superhero reads. I don't know about you, but in our house, we really like superhero movies. In fact, I'm sitting here with my Thor mask, I've got a Hulk mask, I've got Captain America. All of that's ready to go because as I'm recording this, it's the opening day of the new Avengers movie. And so that got me thinking about all the different books that we have in our library that relate to superheroes some way. And the reason I think that I love these stories so much is they're full of a lot of action and adventure. The characters are really, really vibrant and they get to do a lot of crazy, wild, impressive things. And it just makes for a really engaging read. The first book that I wanted to talk to you about is called Super Gifted. This is actually a sequel to a book called Ungifted that came out a few years ago. So if you've read Ungifted, you already sort of know the story, but in Ungifted, the first book, an ordinary kid, Donovan, gets sent to a school for really, really super gifted, smart kids. And it gets pretty funny because he's really sort of a fish out of water. He doesn't fit in. In Super Gifted, one of Donovan's friends from this genius school, whose name is Noah, actually gets kicked out of his fancy academy and ends up in public school. And Noah is super, super smart, but he's not very good at socialization. He's never been in public school before. He doesn't understand sarcasm. So he has a really hard time fitting in. In fact, within his first few days, he ends up making enemies of the captain of the cheerleading squad, as well as the captain of the lacrosse team. So he's got to watch his step. And pretty soon there's a freak incident, sort of an accident, where Noah is mistaken for the hero who saves the day. In fact, he becomes what's called Super Kid at this school because of this thing that everybody thinks that Noah did. And he's gone from being this nerd and this outcast to being the very most popular kid in school, and it starts to go to his head. So he starts thinking that he's a little bit better than he is, and he's really enjoying all this popularity. This is a hilarious school story. I laughed out loud while I was reading it, and Noah's superpower, I guess, is his brains. The next book I wanted to talk to you about has been in our library for a couple years. It's called I Am Princess X. But this year it's being featured on our Teen Award list. And when our books are on our Teen Award list, that means that they're really high quality. I just read this book in the last week or so, and I really loved it. And it's a great mashup. It's sort of a thriller and mystery, but it's also part graphic novel, which I find really interesting. And so the story behind Princess X is starts with two friends. Their names are Libby and May, and they started this comic strip together called Princess X. And so Libby is a really good artist. She drew all the pictures and May wrote the stories. A few years after that, Libby was in a car accident and she died. And so the creation of Princess X stopped when Libby passed away. And now 16-year-old May is walking through the streets of Seattle. She's visiting her dad there and she sees this drawing of Princess X. So the character that they created is showing in a store window. And as she starts doing a little digging, she sees Princess X on stickers and patches. She sees graffiti with that art, and she finds a web comic online. And the really interesting thing is, once she starts reading that web series, she realizes that the events in this comic are right along with Libby's life. And there are things in this comic that no one else would know but Libby and May. And there's sort of sinister events that are happening. Princess X has been kidnapped, her mom has been murdered. And so May starts to wonder how much of this is actually true. And she starts to wonder if her friend might be alive. So if you like suspense stories, if you like mysteries and thrillers, if you like graphic novels, this would be a really great read for you. And the last book that I wanted to talk about is really a superhero book the way we would normally think about it. And it's a story that features Wonder Woman. And I would guess most of us know who Wonder Woman is. But this is almost like a prequel or an origin story for Wonder Woman. Because really, Diana, the main character, hasn't become Wonder Woman just yet. So Diana, Princess of the Amazons, really wants to prove herself amongst all of her warrior sisters. And so she's participating in this race. This is sort of her big chance to prove how skilled she is. But she breaks the Amazon law because she sees this girl, Aaliyah, in trouble. And what she realizes is once she rescues Aaliyah, is that by saving her, she may have doomed the world. Aaliyah has this weird curse or power that's put on her. She's called a warbringer. And what that means is kind of anywhere she goes, when she reaches a certain age, just her existence brings about death and destruction and war. And so there are people that are out to kill Aaliyah to stop her from becoming the warbringer. There are also people who are trying to keep her safe. And so Diana is trying to decide what she needs to do. Should she save Aaliyah? Is there a way that they can break this curse so that they can save the world and keep Aaliyah alive? This story is full of action. It's really great if you've ever seen anything having to do with Wonder Woman. Lots of suspense, lots of interest in this book. And then I only got a chance to talk about three, but we have all kinds of different books that either deal with heroes or talk about people with superpowers. Here are just a few more of them. Michael Vey is a great series for that. Hero by Mike Lupica, the Lost Hero series by Rick Riordan, School for Sidekicks, and Brave. Lots of great reads in our library that deal with heroes and deal with superpowers. I hope you stop in and check some of these